Hello everyone. I'm going to start a new series about ATF. So ATF means Automated Test Framework. In this series, I'll talk about that what is ATF, how we can start ATF from the beginning. We'll talk from the simple to the advanced component, like what are the things we can validate through the ATF, why do we need the ATF, what are the basic structure we need about the ATF. So before we go to the actual practical scenario, let's see a small introduction about ATF. So ATF is automated test framework that helps tester to without testing manually, they can go directly to the ServiceNow and run the test suites. Once you run these test suites, all these things will be automated tested and then it will give you a result. Now, what are the things you can test through the ATF? The first thing is that you can do a form validation like incident, problem, change from. There are multiple mandatory fields. There are some read-only fields. There are some drop-down fields. There are some dependency things. All these things can be validated through that from validation or through the ATF. Second important is that there are each and every organization using the catalog item, and there are huge demand for testing the catalog item manually. Instead of manual testing, you can go through this automated test framework, and using that you can test the catalog item through this ATF. Then you can actually test the integration. Then some portion of the service portal you can test. Then you can test the list, like the form. You can also validate the list. You can validate the notifications. Also, you can validate the server-side logics like business rule flow. Also, you can validate the user access like ACL. The user have actually access to this particular table or not. They can see these fields or not. These things you can validate. Finally, you can also check that dependency value verification. Like if you select the hardware related subcategories should be visible. And for that, you don't need to create multiple test scenario. You can do like parameterized value you can pass and then system automatically keep testing those scenario. So all these things can be done through the ATF. So let's start. Today we are going to start from the form validation. Okay. So we'll take an example of the incident form. So we'll take the incident form validation. First, we'll check that the incident is actually all these fields under the incident form is actually visible or not properly. Okay, so let's do that. So to keep you simple, that if you go to your left navigation and if you type call ATF or automated test framework, you will be able to see that our module. So we'll search called automated test framework, and you can see this complete module is available regarding the ATF. Now, first, we are going to validate regarding the incident. So before we go to this automated test framework, let's understand or let's summarize that what are the things we are going to test there. Okay. So let's say that you got a requirement or the developer developed something. So let's go back to the incident form first. So this is the incident list. And if I click the new button here, so incident form is open. Let's say that developer developed something. The first thing developer developed is called priority field is read-only, that is developed. So as a tester, you might need to test that priority field is read-only or not, short description is a mandatory or not, caller field is a mandatory or not, and then you might need to check that state is by default new or not. Okay, so let me note down all these call. So what are the things we are going to test here? We are going to test a ATF. Using that, what we are going to test? We are going to test that the priority field is read-only, the mandatory field is called caller, and then short description should be mandatory, and then state should be by default new. So this is the form validation we are going to do that first time, okay, through the ATF. So let's assume that a tester, if you are a tester, what do you use to do that? You used to go and impersonate a end user, let's say that able tutor or any user. You are going to impersonate that user, and then after that, you are going to open this incident form, and then once you open this incident form, you are manually going to verify that these are the scenario is actually accomplished or not, like read only is priority or not, the mandatory field is these are the not, and then state these are the not, right? So same thing we are going to do the ATF. Okay, to do that, what we'll go to this module called automated test framework. Here we are going to create the test here, and then we are going to create a new test. Once you click here, you have a options called put the name. So we are going to say that incident. This is our first name, or you can say the title. Then once you created that, you have a options to add steps here. So you need to steps that. What are the steps? The first step is that we are going to impersonate a end user called able tutor, and then we are going to do something. Now imagine that the user that you are going to impersonate that is not available in the system. What will be happen? This test is going to be fail, right? So to overcome this one, normally any records that needs to be created or that needs to be verified, we init create that. Okay. So what we'll do, we are going to create any user first in our steps. So instead of impersonate any existing user, we are going to use a user we are going to create a new user here. So we'll go and then add our test steps first. Okay. Once you click that, you can see that all steps and then these are the breakdown steps. Okay. And first thing you can see the create user. So this is the user we are going to create. Okay. So we are going to click or select this one and then click next. Okay. So first we are going to create an end user to testing this whole form validation process. So the first name I'm going to put call ATF. The last name I'm going to put that end user. Okay. Now in case if I want to add some roles, I can add here roles. In case I want to add some groups, I can add that. Or else if I want to put any other field called active equal to true, then I want to set that user ID equal to, I want to set that 1, 2, 3, 4, anything I can put here. Okay. I'll put like that. Okay. So these all are user table attribute here. Now here is a one checkbox, impersonate this user. It means that the user will be created and impersonate. If you don't want to impersonate immediately, later phase also you can do that. Okay. So I'm not unchecking that. So we are going to create a user as a ATF end user, and then we are going to impersonate that user. So we'll click the submit. Once you submit that, the first step will be added here. As you can see, the create and impersonate user with the following value. The first name is ATF. Second name is called end user, user active equal to true, and user ID is this. So once that record is created and you impersonate that, what is the next steps? You are going to open this form called incident form. And then you are going to validate this value, right? So we are going to first open, in the second step, we are going to open a form. So we'll go and then we are going to open a form. So you go to this form sections and then you can see the open a new form. You can select that and click next. So we are going to open a new form first, and here what we are going to do that, you have two options, standard UI, other UI. So you will select always standard UI, which table we want to open or which table we want to open a new form. So our case, the table name called incident, we want to open the incident table first. So we'll select table name called incident here and click submit. Okay. As you can see that it continuously adding the steps. The first execution order is the create user. Second execution order is the open a new form. Okay. Next step is what? We are going to validate that. Okay. What we are going to validate that? Mandatory things are validating. The read-only things, we are going to validate that. So we'll click add steps. And then under this form, you can see that field state validation. And right side, you can see that it can check that mandatory, not mandatory, read only, not read only, visible, not visible things. Okay. So we'll click the next button here and you can see that where I want to insert after step number 2, I want to insert. Okay. I'll just click the next and then here. So what I want to check that? I want to check that the priority field is read only or not. So to do that, we'll go here and the read only section, I'll say the priority field should be read only. That's it. Next, I'm saying that the caller and then short description should be mandatory. So we'll select that mandatory equal to caller and then short description should be mandatory. Okay. So this way you can add fields. Then what I'm saying extra on top of that, I'm saying that description should be visible in case somebody hide the description field, it should be, it should be an error. So I am saying that under this visibility, I'm saying that description should be visible here. Okay. So these are the things I'm going to validate there. Okay. You can make it solid. If you want to make solid proof, you can add each and every fields should be visible, not visible, everything you can mention here. But I'm just giving you a simple scenario here. Now, I want to check that whenever I'm opening this form, the state should be new, the impact and urgency should be, low, and then priority should be planning. So this is what I'm trying to also validate that. Okay, so let's validate that. To validate that, I can add one more steps, and this time I'm saying that field value validation. Previously we checked the field state validation, and this time I'm saying the field value validation, and then click next. Here I am going to check the value. I'm expecting to be that this value should be properly set. Now, first thing here, you need to put the condition. What I'm saying that the state should be new. So let's say that I'm going to say that state is new. Impact and urgency both should be low. So this is the steps I'm going to put here, as you can see that. And if all these are passed, it means that this form validation is the incident form is looks good, right? So this is what I'm going to test that. Okay, so let's save that. Now, once you save that, you need to test this test. To test this test, what you have to do, you have to enable this. So you can click here called enable test and test suite execution here. And then here there is a checkbox. You need to check and then save that. Okay. Now, here are other properties we'll discuss a little bit later, but you can see that there are few others property also you can go through, or we'll discuss in our further. Now let's refresh here. Once I refresh that, you can see there is a button called run test option. So if I click this run test, a pop-up will be open. Now, by default, the start new test runner is available, and there is also cloud runner. So normally what will be happen? You need to open your browser till that test is completed. But for the long test, you might need to run in the cloud. So for that, this option is available, but this is the stored application. So forget about that one. So it will be by default check called start a new test runner. You just click the test, run test, and it will be open a test environment in your next tab. So as you can see that it's saying that connected and currently executing as a system it was previously called system engineer. Now it's saying that currently executing as a ATF user. And as you can see that the ATF user who don't have any role, anything, they cannot see the short description, they cannot see other fields, and this situation, my ATF is going to give me a failure result. You will be able to see that. So you can see that if I impersonate any end user who don't have any role, they won't be able to see that other fields like descriptions, these fields, and it will be automatically filled. And if I go here, as you can see that it's give me a failed result, and after that rollback. It means that any record, if it is created under your environment, that will be again rollback. So during the testing, you can recall that a incident form open for the testing purpose, it might be saved in future, but that record can be revert back. Now it's saying if I click the go result, you will be able to see a failure with the screenshot like this is failed because unable to check if the priority is read only or not. Description is not visible as the end user doesn't have visibility to these fields, and this ATF is got failed, which is expected result. Now either the developer has to fix this issue, or the ATF engineer who designed this ATF has to be sync with the developer requirement, like end user don't have these options. So either you give the user to the ITL role. So I'll go here to this user or this test, and then the step one, I created a user. I'll give that user to a ITL role to test for the ITL role. So I'll go here, add the user role as ITL and save that. Now, this time, if I run that, let's see what happens. So if I click run, it will be first called system in administrator. Later, it will be initiated as ATF end user. Remember that this time ATF end user have ITL role and they can see all the fields as you can see. Everything is happening automatically. I'm not doing anything. So it will go and then check all these fields value and then it will give me a result. It is passed or not. So it is checking that, taking the screenshot, you can see that, and then it's validating all these data, and then finally it will give me a result called pass or fail. So once it is done, you can go back here and you can see this result. It's saying that success. So this is the overall result and you can see that it's success. It means that I got a pass. So user need a ITL role to see these fields. Now, either you discuss with the developer or the requirement or PO, whoever give the requirement that this should be matched with your test scenario and it will give you an exact result. So that's it for today. In our upcoming video, we are going to discuss more further about ATF. Till the timing, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss about that incident lifecycle validation using the ATF. In our previous session, we have discussed about that what is the ATF and how we can do a form validation through that ATF. In this video, we are going to discuss about the incident lifecycle validation. So what does mean by lifecycle validation? It means that from incident creation to the incident resolve, all these possible scenario we are going to go through, like we'll create an incident through a user, then we'll make that incident to assign to particular assignment group. Then the particular assignment group member will be pick this incident, work on that incident, resolve the incident. In case they need the pending, they will put the pending state. And finally, this incident is going to be resolved. That all this state we are going to validate in our this ATF test case. So let's start one by one. So for that, what we are going to do that, we are going to first show you that incident form. Okay, so I'm going to show that first incident form. So let's say that this is the incident form. In this incident form, whenever you are opening the incident form first time, you had to select the caller, short description, as we have discussed earlier. So let's say that I'm going to select a caller called able tutor. We'll select that. Then short description, I'm going to put that. So before we do actual ATF testing or create a ATF test case, you should know what is the manual behavior. So let's say that I'm selecting that short description equal to demo. And then after that, we'll select that category equal to, for example, network. Okay. And let's save that. Once we save that, you will be able to see that a incident will be created. As you can see, incident is getting created and then it is assigned to a particular group called network group. As the category is network, the assignment group is going to be network. So what we are going to do that in the validation section, first we are going to impersonate an end user, submit this incident through the ATF, and then we'll check that the user, this incident actually assigned to network group or not. Once it is going to be network group, what will be happen? A network group member, whoever is the part of this group member, they will be pick this incident, right? So this is right now in the new state. The network group member will be pick this incident and then mark as a work in progress. For example, in this case, this user is a network group member. So I'll impersonate this user first. I just impersonate this user and then if I go back to this incident, as you can see that this incident is assigned to this person. I'll just pick this incident to this username. So this is the user. I'll just pick that incident and then assign this incident. Okay. So this incident right now assigned to the particular user. And as you can see that once it is assigned to particular user, the state changed to in progress. So we'll check that once that incident is assigned to this user, state is in progress or not. Once this state is in progress, we can validate different state. What is the state? We can check this if we go to this incident on hold state, this on hold reason is mandatory or not. Okay, as you can see, it is on hold reason is mandatory. And once you select that on hold reason mandatory, customer notes is mandatory or not. Once you put that, incident can be on hold. Now after that, what we'll do, let's say that you get some information and then go to this incident resolve state. Then in this resolve state, resolution code, resolution notes are mandatory or not. So these all validation we are going to test one by one through these our case. And then what will be happen also, what we'll test that, we'll test that instead of this manual state change, if the user click this resolve button, actually this incident is getting resolved or not. So let's say that if the user click this resolve button, as you can see, these are the field mandatory or not. And then once these fields are mandatory, it is going to be resolved or not this incident. So these are the things we are going to validate through this our ATF. Okay, so let's do that. Let's design our ATF. I'll just do an impersonations here. Go here and then type automated test framework. And here we'll go to the test again. So we are going to create multiple tests. Okay, previously I have created one test called incident validation. And this time we are going to create that incident lifecycle validation, something like that. So you can create multiple tests here. So this is the incident form validation we have created. Now this time I'm going to create another called incident lifecycle, something like that. So we'll say that incident lifecycle. Okay, so before we go to this incident life cycle, I'll open that incident form validation again. I'll show you that how you can save your time. Okay, so as you can see that you have defined certain steps, right? So you have defined create user, you have defined open form. You already defined some of the steps, right? You don't need to do again. You can click this copy test. What will be happen? This test case will be copied to a new name. So I'll just click this copy test, and as you can see that a copy test will be created with all these steps. So I'll put my name here, uh, incident life cycle, and then I'll save that. So a new test will be created, and you can see it is copied from the incident form validation. In this case, I still need a user called this user. I still need a open to form. These two I don't need, so I can delete that. Okay, so I don't need these two, so I'll delete that. Okay, so in these steps, what I incident lifecycle, what are the things already done? One is the create a user, already done. Another is the open incident form, already done. Okay, so I'll open this create a user here, and then here in this end user, instead of end user, I'll say that requester. So what are the things we are going to do that? First, we have created a user called ATF request user, requester user. Then we are opening the form. Okay. So I will try to replicate the same thing. So what I'll do, I'll just try to replicate here. So first we had to, this is a new form right now. We have to put the caller, short description, and then we have to click this submit button to um, submit this incident, right? So let's do that. So I'll go and then add step here. And then in this case, we are going to set field value. So we are going to set the field value. We'll click the next button here. What are the fields we are going to set here? We are going to set the caller. We are going to set the configuration item. Also, we are going to set that subcategory as a network, right? So let's do that. So the short description, let's say that ATF then caller. Who should be the caller? The caller should be the person who are actually impersonator or requester. So you can click this pillar icon. Either you can hard code here, or else in the step one we created a user. So you can go and then click this user here, and then you can select that. So caller will be this user. Now we are going to set a category equal to network. So we'll go and then set call category is network. Okay, so these are the value we are going to set in this form. Okay, after that, what we are going to do that after setting this value, we are going to click this submit button. So what will be happen once you click this submit button, the record will be saved, right? So let's do that. So we'll click this add steps, and then this time what we are going to do that click UI action. There is an option called click UI action. We are going to click this UI action and then click next. What will be happen? A record is going to be saved that. Okay, so let's do that. Now in this UI action, we need to select the UI action name called submit, right? So let's search for the submit. And as you can see that there are two submit button. We don't know which one is that actually, right? For that, what you can do, so if you have SN util extension, there is a directly one question mark is available here. You can see that after this submit button, if you click there, it will actually land to this submit button. This is the submit button. We can simply copy this submit button sysID and go here and select that sysID, so that it did not create any confusion. Here we have two sysID. We don't know which one is going to be used. We can just go and then put the sysID equal to this submit button. Okay, and then run them. Okay, so what will be happen after that? There is a one thing called assert type. So here it will be actually you have to select that form submitted to the server. What will be happen? It will actually submit the incident record into the server side, and then you can click this submit button. Once you have done that, what will be happen? A record will be created by this ATF test user. Once the record is created, you are supposed to validate that this is assigned to a network group or not. The form or the incident record is assigned to a network group or not. Now for that, you need to open this incident form again because you submitted that. You might be go back to this list. So you need to open this incident form again, and then you need to validate that assignment group is actually network or not. So we just need to be open the existing record of this incident, and then we need to validate that assignment group. So let's do that. We'll go and then click add step again. And this time we are going to select that open existing record. We'll go and then select the open existing record. And then in this open existing record, we are going to select the previous record. So here you can see this is a pillar icon. So we'll click this pillar icon, and then we are going to here, and then we'll click this record. Okay. So that will be what it will be open. It will open the existing record. We'll submit that. So this record, these steps will open this existing incident record that has been submitted. And then we'll validate that incident assignment group is network or not. Okay. So we'll go here, click add steps. And then here we'll say that field values validation here. We'll select this one, and then we'll check that the incident assignment group is actually network or not, right? So we'll go here and then we'll put here called incident. So this is the validation we are going to done that. Once your assignment group validation is done, what is the next step? The next step is that you are supposed to impersonate a network group member, and then what you are supposed to do that once this is you impersonate a network group member, you are supposed to assign this incident to yourself, right? And then once you assign yourself, or once you do that, this incident state should be automatically from new to work in progress, right? So we can validate again here in this case called here. What is the state of this incident? The state will be after submitting that, the state will be remained new state. Once it is assigned to a particular user, then the state will be in progress state, right? So this is, we already checked there. So we had to validate in these steps also. We can put this validation here also. So here we are checking that assignment group validation. We'll check that state also. So the state should be in the new state. Okay. So as I said that whoever is the assignment like network group member, they should be impersonate that. Now there are 4-5 members there. What will be happening in future if those 4-5 users are inactive? Your ATF will be filled. In that case, we can create a user, and then we can add the user to the assigned group member table. Okay, so we'll do that for that case scenario. Okay, so let's do that. In this ATF, so far we have done the 6 steps, but in this case, I also want to create a user on step number before this step number 1. Okay, so I'll go here, add steps. Now this time I am going to put that add beginning. On that beginning, I want to add one more step. What step? I want to create a user. So we'll go and then create a user. What is the name? So let's say that ATF. Now this user, the step number one, I don't want to impersonate. I will impersonate in the later phase, right? So I'll just uncheck this impersonate, and then in the group, I'll select call network. Okay, so the user I want to create on the step number one is called ATF network member, and then this user will be active. The user ID will be 789, and this will be member of this network group, but I don't want to impersonate that. So I added these steps on the step number one. So right now, as you can see that previously it was 7 steps, but it is 6 steps. Now it is 7 steps. In the step one, I'm going to create a user called ATF network member. And then step number two, I'm going to create called requester. And then after step number 7, I want to impersonate that this user, the step number one user, and then open this incident form. Okay, so we already created an incident. We created an incident here as a network category equal to network. Once we submitted that, the incident is automatically assigned to these network groups, and then we are going to impersonate a network group member, and then after impersonating that user, we are going to validate that the state changed to the in progress or not. So after step number 7, I'm going to impersonate that user. So we have a one called impersonate. You can search call impersonate. After step number 7, I'm going to impersonate that user. So I need to select the user. What will be the user? User will become from the step number 1. So we'll select the step number 1. Okay, it is impersonate. Now what I want to do that after that, we need to open this existing form, or we need to open this incident form, right? So we'll click here at test step, open existing form. So we'll go here, open existing form after impersonation. Now here we need to select the record. So we'll go again here in the speaker, and then we'll click this UI action and then record. Okay, so this will open the existing record. Once the existing record is opened, what we want to check that? We want to set the assign to and then click this update button. So we'll go here, we'll add a steps here called set value. This time we'll select the set field value and then we'll click the next. What we want to set? We want to set the assign to, and who should be the assigned to? The step number 1 user should be assigned to. Okay, so let's say that we will select that assign to. Okay, who should be assigned? Assigned should be that step number 1. Okay, and once it is assigned, what we want to do that? Once it is assigned, we want to click this update button. Okay, so we'll click this update button. For that, we'll add one more steps here. Add test steps, and then we are going to click this click UI action, click next, and then we need this update button sysID. So we'll click this this question mark here. This is the sysID of the update button. We'll copy that and go here and open this glass icon and then put this sysID equal to update. So we'll check that sysID starts with this one, run that and update that. And this time again, this assertion should be that form submitted to the server, and save that. All right. So once you actually assign to a particular user for, let's say that this user you selected, the state will be changed to automatically to the in progress. That is the expected behavior. As you can see, the state is in progress. So we'll validate that state. Okay. So here we'll validate this step. So we'll go here again and then field value validation here. No, before that, we need to open this existing record again, because if you click this update button, you might go to this another list, right? So we are going to open this existing record again, and then we'll do a validation. So we'll go click this open existing record and then record Now record, we need to select the incident record. Now this time you can see that either you can go for the step number 5 or step number 11 to open this existing record, because in these two steps we actually update that record, or these steps we created the record, this step we updated record. So we'll go here and then we'll open this, use the step number 11 as a latest record. So now once your existing record is open, you are going to validate that the state is changes to the in progress or not. So let's do that. So we'll go and then click add step, and then we'll select that field value validation. And then here, what we are going to check that the state should be the in progress state. So that's what we are expecting. So we'll select the state is in progress. Okay, so that's it. Now, if I change the state to on hold, what will be happen? The on hold reason should be mandatory. That we are going to validate that. And after that, we are going to work on the resolve part. Okay, so let's do that. We'll go to here under the steps. Here we are validating the form. Now it is already open the existing record. The open and existing record will be always used whenever you are saving record or updating record. Okay, so let's go back, add a steps here. We are going to validate that. What we are going to validate that if we change this state to the on hold reason is mandatory or not, that we are going to do that. So let's say that we are going to set field value here called state equal to on hold, and then we'll validate that on hold reason is mandatory or not. Okay, so let's try that. That's it. Submit. And after the step number 14, what we are going to do that, validate that field state validation. Okay, using that we can check the mandatory. So what we are going to check that, we are going to check that this on hold reason is mandatory or not. Okay, so let's try to do that. So we'll check that on hold reason is mandatory here or not. So if it is on hold is mandatory, what we are going to do that, we are going to click this resolve button. And so once we click this resolve button, we will check this resolution code and resolution notes are mandatory or not. Okay, so let's go back here. And after this step number 15, we are going to click this resolve button. So we'll go here, click this UI action, click next. And which UI action we are going to click that, we are going to click this resolve button. So we need the resolve sysID. So we'll copy this sysID, right click, copy this sysID, copy sysID, go back here, and then so we'll select this resolve button. This time we are not going to select the ascertain type, because if you see that once we click this resolve button, these two fields are become mandatory. Once we put this field value, then this is going to be saved that. So these things we have to keep in mind. So we are not selecting any ascertain at that moment. It will be as it is, and I'll click the submit button. Once we click this submit button, as I said that these two fields should be mandatory called resolution code, resolution notes, and then we need to, and the work notes will be also mandatory. So we are going to do that. We are going to validate that. So we'll click here, add more step, and then we are going to do that field validation. So we'll go and then field state validation, click next. We are going to validate that resolution code and resolution notes both are mandatory or not. We are going to select that resolution code and resolution notes are mandatory or not. So we go here and then select under this mandatory, resolution code and resolution notes both are mandatory or not. Once both are the mandatory, we'll go here and then put here, let's say did that and click this resolve button, right? This is going to be resolved. The incident is going to be resolved, right? So we'll go back and check there. So we will go and then select this resolution code and resolution note. So we'll select the set field validation here, resolution code and resolution node, and then we'll click this resolve button. Resolution code, we'll select that called known issue. So instead of known error, let's put the duplicate, because known error might have some validation. So we'll put that duplicate for the time being. and then we'll save that. So after this setting this resolution code and resolution node, we need to click this resolve button again to resolve that, right? So let's do that. We'll go here, add step. So here in this UI action, we need to select the resolve button. So we'll already copy this sysID of the resolve. So we'll go here, put the sysID here, and then click this run. So this resolve button will be click here, and this time we are going to click this service called submit, and then click this submit button. Once this incident got resolved, so we'll click this resolve button, put this information, and click resolve. Once this incident is resolved, we can open this incident form and check the state equal to resolve or not, right? So now once you click this resolve button, it might be go to this different list. So you have to again open this existing record. So we'll go here and click add step. Now record we'll select the step number 19 record, submit, and then we can validate that the state equal to resolve or not. So we'll go and then check the field validation that it is actually resolved or not. So we'll go here and then we can check that field value validation, and then we can check that state is resolved or not. That's it. So pretty much our ATF is ready. As you can see, we already checking this resolve or not. So let's run this ATF and see this is working as expected or not. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about that how you can test service catalog inside the ATF. So as you know that we are discussing about ATF, we have discussed how we can do form validation, how we can do the incident lifecycle validation. In this day, we are going to talk about that how you can do catalog item validation inside the ATF. Now, in the catalog item validation, what are the things you can validate? First thing is that you can check the approvals logic. You can also approve that. Secondly, you can validate that field, like you can check that mandatory field, not mandatory field, these things. Third, you can check the catalog task validation. You can check that the catalog task is created properly or not, related catalog task is assigned to properly the group or not. And then the fourth, you can check the validation, email validation. Like once the catalog task is assigned to particular group, or maybe once the catalog task is close completed, a email might be triggered. You can validate the email is properly triggered or not. So those things you can test in your catalog item validation inside the ATF. Now, there could be two scenarios. The catalog item can be tested inside that native view, like in that inside that native view, or else the catalog item can be tested into the service catalog. For both the cases, the different ATF runs, but mostly it will be similar. So I'll show you a complete guide today. So if you see that I have created a catalog item called application management. In this catalog item, there are few fields mandatory, like requested for is mandatory. By default, it's setting the current username. Then we have a field called other fields, like you can see that when do you need these, there are drop down here. Then you have a primary contract, you have a cost center, and all these are mandatory basically. So you can see that. Okay, now these things we can validate through the ATF, and once you order this catalog item, you can see that a RITM will be generated, and then once it will be generated the RITM, I have a attached a flow. So what will be generated? It will generate a manager approval. So it will be generate a manager approval. So you can check the manager approval is generated or not. You can approve that through the ATF. Then you can validate the catalog task is generated or not. You can close complete that catalog task, and finally you can check that RITM state. So you can do complete end-to-end testing through this ATF for the catalog item. So let's do that. So for that, we have to understand a few things. First thing is that requester. Somebody is going to request for this catalog item. So let's assume that a test user ABCD. Now, second is that a manager who is going to approve this. The requester manager is going to approve that. So manager is the second person. The third person is that the catalog task is going to be assigned to that application development team. So application development team, there will be a fulfiller who will actually fulfill your catalog task and mark that close complete. So there are 3 persons needed to test this scenario. First is the requester, second is the requester manager,
third is the fulfiller. So 3% needed to complete this ATA. So let's do one by one. So we'll go here again, go to this automated test framework, and then we are going to create one more test. We'll go to the test here, and then we are going to create these two tests we have created in our earlier class. This day I'm going to create a new ATF. So I'll click the new test here, and then I'll put the name. Let's say that normally that ATF name starts with that the process name or the catalog item name. So we'll put like application test, something like that. Okay. And then click save that. So this test is saved. Now we have a test step. So we have to define the test step. As I said that we had to create 3% in this scenario. First person is the requester for, second person is the requester for manager, third person is that our fulfiller. So let's do that. So first I'll go and click the add step, and this time I'll go and then create a user. Okay. So in the first step, what I'm going to do that I am going to create a user, right? To create a user, as you know that you can put the name, email address, first name, last name, user ID. Let me put that. The first I'll say that, so this is the first user. I'm going to create the first a manager user. Okay. So I'll put that requester manager. I'll put some user ID. And in the role section, we'll put that the person is going to be approved. So we'll put that approver user. Okay. So this user can approve that, and I'll give that ITL user. Okay. So this is the user who is going to be approved that, but this user I'm not going to impersonate at that moment. Okay. So first user is created. Second user is that this is the step one who is going to be manager. Second, I need a fulfiller. So we'll go and then create one user called fulfiller. Okay. And also if you see that it is going to assign, this task is going to be assigned to the application development group. So we'll go and then assign this user to this group. Okay. Done. So second user is created. And this time, okay, so we are not going to impersonate this user. So we have to uncheck this user fulfiller at that moment. So we are not going to impersonate this user immediately. So we'll uncheck that. Then lastly, we are going to create our requester user. So we just uncheck that. So you can see that create and impersonate. If I refresh that, it will be called create user. The last step is that for creating user called requester user. So we'll go and then put the requester user. Now here the thing I am going to discuss that. Now this is the requester user. Requester have a manager. We need to set a manager to generate the manager approval. So we'll go and then select the manager. Okay. And who is the manager? Manager is the first user. So we'll go and then select the first user as a manager. Okay. Now we are going to give the ITL role to this user. So you can, based on your criteria, you can give the different role. Now I can impersonate this user. I'm going to impersonate this user. So I'll check the impersonate this user. So last user, I'm going to impersonate that. Okay. So 3 steps are done. First user is the manager. Second is the fulfiller. And third is the requester, whose manager is the first user. As we can see, that manager is the first user, and then giving the ITL role to all the user. This user, I am giving the approver user role. Now, this user creation is done, role given is done, group given is done. What is the next step? So now we need to open this catalog item in our ATF, right? To open this catalog item in this ATF, what do we have to do? We have to go here, click this add test tab, and then we have to go to this service catalog, or you can see the service catalog in service portal, these sections. And then we have an option called open a catalog item in bracket SP. So all this service portal related action will be visible here. So we are going to open a catalog item in the service portal view. So we'll select that and then click next. After that, we need to define that catalog item name. So we'll say that application management. We'll select that. You can see that in which portal it should be open. By default, it's showing the service portal. So if you want to change to that employee center, you can do that here and then click submit. Okay, so record will be open under employee center portal in this application management. Then what is the next thing? We are going to validate that requester for should be the current user. So we are going to check the validation. We are going to check that these fields are mandatory or not. So we'll go and then check add step. Then first thing we are going to check that we'll check that variable state validation. This way we can see that which all are mandatory. So we'll select that. So what are the fields are mandatory? We'll say that who is requested for, when do you need this, who is the primary contact, what is the cost, and these all are variable should be mandatory. So we'll go here and then select that all these variable are mandatory or not. So we'll select that and then submit that. So our mandatory validation will be done. The next step is that we are going to check that by default requester for is set or not. So we'll go here, add step, and then check that field value validation called this requester for is set or not. Okay, so let's go here and then check that validate variable value and then click next. What is the value we are expecting? The value we are expecting that who is the requested for is the user or not. So we'll say that who is the requested for is the third user or not. So we'll select this third user. Okay, and then submit that. So our validation is done. Next, what we had to do? The next step is that we had to set this value. So as you can see that system administration, this is set by default. Here, but that when do you need it's by default set today. We need to set this value like what is the primary contacts, what the cost center will be built, and then this one. So we need to select this value and then we need to order that. So let's do that. To do that, what we have to do it again, click this here and then here we need to set this catalog item variable value. So we'll click this set variable value and then click next. Okay, so what are the value we need to set that? We need to, it's already set by default. This is already set by default. We need to select the primary contact. Then we need to select that what cost center will be built, and this is the one. Okay, so let's do that. We'll select that cost center here, and then in the reference we'll select the cost center, let's say the development. Next is that primary contact. The primary contact might be said anything. We'll select that manager. So the first step is the manager. We'll select the manager user, and then after that, what is the business purpose? We need to select that. Okay, so we'll select that business purpose here, and here we'll select a value from this business purpose. Let's say that whatever KTLO, whatever is that, and then submit that. So this value we have set. Now finally we need to order this catalog item. We set the variable value, then we need to click this add step, and then we need to order this value, order this catalog item. So we'll go here and then order the catalog item. Okay, we'll select and click next. So this will actually order this catalog item in the backend. After ordering that, what we had to do? We had to open this RITM. Okay, to open this RITM, we cannot open directly the RITM. For that, what we had to do? We had to go here and then click add step here, and then we had to query to that RITM table. Okay, first we need to query to this RITM table. So we'll click this record query, click next. Okay, so how we'll get that? So whenever you are ordering, this will return you that request number, request sysID. From the request sysID, we need to find out that RITM. Okay, how do you go that? there is a request field, right? So if you query to the SCREQ item table, request number is this one, request is this one, you'll get a RITM. Simple as that. So we'll change this table name called SCREQ item table. And then in the condition, we will say that request, because we know the request number. So we'll select that request. And in this request, we will, here we are ordering that return us a, request sys will select that. So what will be happen? This will return us the RITM number, and using that RITM sys or RITM record query, we can open that. So we'll click the add step. Okay. And then we will open the form. As you know that once the record is ordered, you can go back to the native view, right? So we'll go here, then open existing record, click next. And then this time we need to select the record. How we will get the record? We get this record already from query. We can get that record. Okay. So this will give us a RITM form will be open. Now in this RITM form, you can check the stage actually. So to check that stage, how do you check the stage? The stage will be waiting for approval. We can check that. To check that, you can again go here, click call add test step. And then here you can check that field value validation here, click next button. And here you can check that like stage is waiting for approval or not. Okay, so we'll put that stage is waiting for approval or not. Stage is waiting for approval or not. Okay. Once this is verification is done, what we had to do, we had to actually open this approval record. So we had to go here and then open this approval record, right? So we have to open this record and then approve that record, right? So for that, we need to query to that table. Before that, what we'll do that, I will impersonate this manager because manager approval is generated. Manager has to approve that. So I'll impersonate the manager. So we'll add step here and then search for the impersonate. And which user I'm going to impersonate? I'm going to impersonate the step number 1 user because the step number 1 user is going to be actually approve that. So we'll go here, click this step number 1 user, which is the manager user. So once we get this manager, once we impersonate the manager user, we have here, if you see the record query that give us the RITM number, we need to query to that which table? We need to query to the sys approval underscore approver table where our approver is present, right? So we'll go here, add test step, then this time record query, click next. Which table we are going to query? We are going to query to the approval table. So we'll change this to request item to approval table. To find out this button, what you can do, actually you can open any approval record and find out the sys ID, okay? So we'll go here in this case, and then here we'll search call approval here, and then click this my approval sections. Although I don't have any approval, I'll click this all and then open any requested approval here, okay? And then here you will be able to see that approve button is available. So you can click this approve button and get this sys ID. We'll click this approve button and then we'll get this sys ID. Once we get this sys ID, we can go here, put the sys ID. So we'll go here, put the sys ID there. Okay, so this way you are going to approve that. Make sure you select the assert type should be submitted to the server. Then it will actually approve to the server side. So once it is approved, you can go back to this RITM, validate the stage should be fulfillment, because once it is changed the stage, approval is done, the stage will be fulfillment and it will be create a catalog task. So we are going to their back here, add to validate the stage. To validate the stage, you have to open the existing form again, and we'll click this add step again, go to the form, open existing form, click next. Then we are opening which form? We are opening that RITM form, and then we are validating the stage, right? So let's do that. So we are going to change this table to RITM again. And then how do we get this record? We already query to somewhere. You can see that record query. You can just use this one. So that will give us the RITM record sysid. So this way we can open the RITM. And once you open this RITM, you can validate the stage. So we will click the add steps here. Then we are going to check that field value validation, click next. And then this time stage will be fulfillment, that we are going to validate that. So we'll select that stage is fulfillment, that is in the condition. Once the stage is fulfillment, next step is that we had to open this catalog task. And then in this catalog task, we need to mark this catalog task as close complete. Now, who is going to work on that catalog task? The fulfiller, who is the part of this application development group member, they are going to work on this catalog task and marking this catalog task as a close complete. Where the fulfiller is defined, the fulfiller is defined under step number 2. So we are going to impersonate the fulfiller first. We'll click here called add test step. Impersonate the fulfiller. In which step the fulfiller is under step number 2, we are going to select that impersonate the step number 2 user and then submit that. Once the impersonation is done, we had to find out that SC task, right? How do you find the SC task? To find out the SC task, you need to query to the SC task table with this RITM number called requested item equal to this sysid, and then state may be open. So we'll put that. We'll add step again. Then after impersonation, we are going to query to this table, record query, click next. And we are going to query to the SC underscore task table, right? So we are going to go here, select that SC underscore task table. And what should be the condition? Condition should be requested item is, the requested item is the record query. From here, we can get that. And then first record. And next we can additionally, we can put the state is open. Initially when that it will be created, the state might be in that open state. So we will select that state is open and state is open. Okay. Once this record is find out through that query, we can open the SC task table, right? We can open this existing record. So we'll go and then click add step. Then here we will open existing record. So we'll use the open existing record and then click next. And this way we can open the SC task. The record will be the last query record. And this will be open our SC task. Once SC task is open, what we want to do that, we want to click this. There should be, if I change to this open, there will be a button called close complete. You will be able to see there is a button called close complete. I want to click this close complete button. And once I click this close complete button, this should be close complete, right? So let's do that. So we'll go here, click add test steps. You can do additional verification. I'm not making so much complicated here. So I just want to click this close complete button here so that the task is close complete. So we'll click this, click UI action, and then you can do the close complete here. and then ascertain will be submitted to the server and then submit that. So this way our task will be closed. Once the task is closed, as you can see that the task is closed, and then RATM will be automatically, RATM stage will be automatically closed. So that is the last steps of verification. So RATM should be closed complete. Here the RATM should be, stage will be complete, and then state will be closed complete. So this is the final stage of the verification. To do that, you need to again open the existing record. So we'll click that add test step, open existing record, click next, change the table from SC task to SC REQ item table. And then record, it will be step number 9 where we query that. We'll go and then record, open that. Okay. So this way our requested item will be open, and then finally we are going to verify that it is closed complete or not, right? So we'll do that. We'll click this add step, field value verification. Next, what we want to validate that? We want to verify that stage is complete and state is closed complete or not. After doing all these, you can see total 22 number steps. We are going to run these ATFs. We'll click this run ATF here and then click this Chrome here. This will be run in our browser. And this is the browser where it is going to start automatically all this process. As you can see, the first it's impersonate the requested user and then going to submit this form. Okay, so as you can see that we cannot submit this sys approval form as there is no currently form is open. Let's see that. So as you can see the step number 13, it's query to that sys approval table, and we forget to open this existing form, and then we added that click UI action, these steps. So we need to, after 13 step, we need to add open a existing record. So let's do that. This step somehow missed there, or maybe have not saved that. So we'll add existing steps here. So we'll click the test step, and this time we are going to put after 13. So we'll go put that after 13. You can see that it's query, and then we click this here. So we'll click this record query. Then we are going to open this existing record. And then inside the record, we are going to select that step number 13 one. So we'll select that step 13, which is nothing but the approval record. So we'll submit that. Okay. And I'll rerun that. This time I'll run quickly. So as you can see that RITM is completed and our test is completed almost from here. So as you can see that our ATF got success, and this way you can actually test the complete catalog item without any manual things. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about that how you can test the order guide through the ATF. So I'm not going to do end-to-end testing. I'll just show you that how you can order a order guide through the ATF. For that, what we are going to do that I have created one order guide called demo order guide ATF. In this order guide, you can see that there are three sections. One is called describe needs, and under this choose option, you can actually choose multiple uh, catalog item, and then after that you can go to this checkout page and then order this, right? So we are going to test the similar scenario here in our ATF, and let's see that how we can do that. The first thing is that we are going to click here called new. Then we have to define the test name. So for that, what is the test name? So we can say that order guide test. Okay, by the way, if you don't know that how I go to this page, and for that you can type the automated test framework, click the test and then click the new button and save that. So our first test is created. Now once we created the steps, I'm not going to do like end-to-end testing, like creating a user, impersonating the user, giving the user to the ITL role. I'm not doing those because those things I have already discussed in my previous video. I'm just showing you that simply how we can do this complete ordering the process here. For that, I'll go and then click test steps here. And then here, if you go to this called service catalog in service portal, then we have options called open a order guide in bracket SP. Then click next. Once I selected that, you can see that order guide name we had to put there. So we'll select that the order guide name called demo order guide ATF and then click submit. So our first step is opening this page is done. Now we need to set some value. Here we need to set some value. Let's say that I'm going to set some value here called set variable value SP. Click next. What value I want to set? Let's say that I want to set that who is the requested for is the able tutor for the time being. So I'll select that requested for is for the time being. I'm setting that able tutor. Now, after doing that, we need to click this next button to go to this choose option. Once we click this choose option, we can actually land to this page, right? So we'll go here, click add test steps, and then we'll go, there is the options called navigate with order guide in bracket SP that will actually navigate from describe to the choose option. We'll go here, click next, and here on which page we want to go to this choose option page. We'll select that choose options here and then click submit. Once we go to this choose option, now here you can see that there could be a multiple catalog item. There could be application management. There could be multiple. As you know that order guide is combination of the multiple catalog item. So it could have multiple catalog item, right? So we need to select this application management catalog item. For that, we need to do one more steps called add steps. Go to these called service catalog, and then here called review item in order guide. So this option we have to select and then click next. Once we do that, we can select the catalog item. What is the catalog item name? Our catalog item name is called application management. We'll click submit. Once you open this application management catalog item, you can set other variable like who is the primary contact, what cost center will be billed, what is the business purpose. This variable value you can set that. So let's say that at test step, let's say that variable set variable value, click next. Now here we need to define all these variable one by one. Okay, so let me set these one by one. And then click submit. So all these variable value are set. What is the next step? We have to go to this checkout page, right? So we have to go to this checkout page, click add steps, go here. Then we are going to select the navigate within the order guide SP again. And then this time we will select that to summary page and then submit that. After submitting these, going to the summary page, the final step is to order this. So we'll go here, and then we are going to select call submit order guide, click next, and then submit that. So this way you can define all your steps. Then finally you can just click this run test and then click runner. What will be happen? The catalog, you can see that our order guide will be open into the portal. As you can see that it's just open that order guide and it will automatically happen everything. Then it's go to this choose option. It will be expand that choose options of this catalog item and then fill up this and then order this automatically, this catalog item. So as you can see, it's automatically expand, set as a able tutor, requested for set as a able tutor as we set that, and then it will set other value like primary contact, cost center, as you can see, and then finally it will go to the next page and then order this catalog item. After ordering that, it will return you that request number. Then you can do like, you can query to that, you can open that RITM, verify that, and then check all this validation. So you can see it's just ordered this request. Okay. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hello everyone. Today I'll show you that how you can do parameterized testing through the ATF. So let's take an example that you go to this incident form. And in this incident form, there are multiple combinations. Like if you see that the impact is low, urgency is low, the priority is 5, right? Similarly, if you change to that high, the priority got changed to 3, right? So if you want to test the complete scenario, like impact, urgency, this combination, what you have to do, you have to keep writing the steps again and again. So these multiple steps are looping through multiple time, right? So for example, if you change to that high, this priority will be changed to the critical. Now there are multiple combination, right? So there is a 3 here and there is a 3 value here. So there are multiple combination. Based on this multiple combination, it can create a output called priority, right? So this is a repeated test that you want to do through the parameter, okay? Through the parameter. So you pass a parameter, you get a value and you check that that value is expected or not. So using that parameterized ATF testing, you can achieve this scenario. So in the ATF, what we will do that we'll pass this impact and urgency with the different combination. The first step is might be we are passing that high, medium, low. We'll pass different combination in the ATF, and then in the output we'll check that the priority is getting that value or not. So we'll pass different combination in this ATF and then we'll verify their combination of the output. So let me do that. So we'll go to this automated test again and go to this test. We are going to create a new test called, let's say that the priority verification. So we'll say, so once you created your test, you check this enable parameterized testing, you will be see that one more tab is called parameter definition test data run set. Okay, so these two new tab will be visible here. The purpose of this parameter definition is that what we are going to test that we are going to pass this impact and urgency with the different combination, and then we'll check that output of that priority is setting based on that or not. So we'll pass two parameter, and then in the third parameter we're going to verify that, right? So in this case, in our parameter definitions, we have to define three parameter: impact, urgency, and then priority. Now if you see that in this parameter definition, there are two button is there, one called exclusive parameter and another called shared parameter. So shared parameter is something, if you create some parameter, it will be added all your other ATF test where the enable parameter is there. But exclusive parameter is something that is only for this test. So our case, impact, urgency, and priority will be only limited for the priority verification test. So we'll create the exclusive parameter here. We'll click this add exclusive parameter. And then here it will define, or you can define that type, you can define the label and then column. So our case that you can see that impact and urgency both are choice. So we'll put here called type equal to choice. Okay. As it is choice, remember that the um, we need to define the choice value also. So we'll put that the our first variable called impact, and as you can see, it's coming as u underscore impact. So this is our first variable or first parameter actually created. Now in this case, that impact is a choice. It means that it have a drop down. So we need to define the choice in the bottom. So we need to define choice here. So let's define the choice here. We'll click this new button. The first is called 1 dash high, and then the value backend value is 1. Second is the medium, the backend value is 2, and third is the low, the backend value is 3. So we need to keep doing that. I'll quickly do that for you and then tell you that. So as you can see that for impact, I have created three value. One for, I'll update the sequence also here, 200, and then this one will be 300. So as you can see that I have created three value choice value, high, medium, low. The similar way I had to do for impact I have done. So urgency and priority. Priority have 5 combination, and then urgency have 3 combination. I'll quickly do that for you and then I'll just come back. As you can see that I have created urgency, priority, impact, these three parameter. If you notice the type, urgency and impact I have created as a choice, priority I have created the string. You can actually create the choice also. I just want to show both, like you can create choice or string, anything, because ultimately the things matter is that your backend value. Okay, so you can check that let's say that if you're passing that high and high, the value should be critical. It have the 5 actually. So if you see that if I put low, it have that 5 choice. So I thought not to spend so much time to creating this choice. So I just moved this to string. So these two I have created as choice. This is I created as a string. You could have created that as a choice also. Okay, so our parameter is defined, right? Now we have to define the steps. What steps we are going to perform? The first step is that opening a new form called incident form. Then we are going to set some value called impact and urgency. And after setting this value, we'll verify that the value, the priority value is coming properly or not that we are expecting. So this is what our goal is that. So, okay, so let's define the test. Under this test step, I'm not going to create the user, giving the ITL role, all this. Right now, it is going to happen everything through that admin account. If you want to do full proof proper test, you can do that. Now here, I'll click add test steps here. First, we are going to open a new form. Click next. Now we have to define the table name called incident. So we'll select the table name equal to incident. So first form is open. Now we are going to set some value. We are going to set impact and urgency from the parameter. So we'll go here, add test steps. Then we'll select that call set field value. Click next. What value we want to set? We want to set impact and urgency value. So as you can see, it's pre-populated with short description and caller. We'll change to that impact and urgency. Okay, so we are going to set that impact and urgency. What value I want to set? I'm not going to set any static value. I will set the value from the parameter. So we'll click here, parameter, and then we'll select from impact parameter, and then urgency we'll select from that parameter urgency. Okay, and then click submit. So we'll get this value or parameter, that the value we'll get from the parameter. Next, we'll click add test steps, and then we'll verify the field value verification. So field values validation, we'll click that, and then next that. After setting this value, we'll check that what should be our expectation. So let's say that you set that low, the value should be as a 5, as a planning, right? So we'll select that priority equal to So here under field value verification, we are going to set the value, or we are going to check the value. So what we are going to check that? The priority we are going to check that. Priority is the parameter. From the priority we are going to check that. So this is what we are going to check that. So we'll pass something, we'll get that, and then we'll verify that. Okay. Now we define that this parameter, we define that what test needs to be performed. Now we have to define that what combination we are going to test that. We are going to combine. We are going to test the combination of this thing, right? So we here under this test run data set, you can import that data or you can create manually. So we are going to create multiple combination. The first combination we are going to say that if impact equal to low, then urgency equal to low, the priority will be 5, right? So we'll say that impact low, priority urgency low, and as it is string, it is not coming, so priority will be 5. So this is our first data set. Okay, so we can keep adding multiple data set. We'll click another one. So let's say that if impact equal to high, urgency equal to high, the priority will be 1. Okay, so let's do that. Impact high, urgency high, priority equal to 1. Okay, so it's the second combination. Third combination, impact high, urgency is low, then it will go to the moderate one. So let's create another data set. So you can create multiple data sets. The profit or the benefit is that if you create the choice, you can select that, and if you have that string, you need to manually put that value. So let's say that impact equal to high, urgency equal to low. So impact equal to high, urgency equal to low. In that case, what is the value? The value should be priority value equal to 3. So let's put that 3. So this is, I'm going to change that 4 for testing purpose and to show you that it is going to fail. If you put 3, it will go pass. If you put 4, it will fail. So I'll put 4 for the timing for testing to show you that it's getting failed. Okay, so I put that 4. Okay, now all this combination is done. What will we do? That our test runner, it will first pick that order. The first order is what? First order is low, low. Second order is high, high. Third order is high, low, right? So it will pick one by one order and then run whole test steps and then give the result. So try to create minimal test step, because this combination will be repeat all this test data set one by one. So it will pass that, it will run for one row, it will run for second row, it will run for third row. All will run for each steps. So right now I have data set of 3 and test step is 3. So it will run 9 steps. Okay, so let me run that. So if I click run test steps and then here click there, as you can see that our first data set is called low low. It will run that with the low low. So as you can see that here it sets that impact equal to 3, urgency equal to 3, and then priority equal to 5, and checking that it is correct value or not. So it is just verifying the priority. It's not setting impact, setting urgency, setting, and priority is verifying. As you can see, this steps 2, it set impact equal to 1, urgency equal to 1, at priority set as critical, it is testing that. And in the third steps, this is going to be fail, as we are going to pass impact equal to 1 and urgency equal to 3, and then we put the priority equal to wrong. So this is going to be fail. So now if I go here, you can see that we have passed 3 data set, and then first 2 data set are passed. Third data set had failed because we have passed the wrong priority combination and it got failed. So this way you can actually enable the parameterized verification, and you can do parameterized testing, you can run the multiple test steps. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone. In this day, I'll talk about that how you can verify service portal through the ATF using the custom UI component. So if you recall that in our previous sessions, we have created one of the automated test call. If I go here, one of the automated test called application management. In this application management, we actually order the catalog item through the portal, but when we are doing the approval, we are actually doing through the native view. So if you see that here, we actually uh, do record query to that backend table. We open that record into backend and we click that approve button through the backend. Let's see that is it possible to approve that from our service portal or not. So in that way, we can confirm that the service portal testing can be done through the ATF. So let's see that one by one. So what I'll do that, I'll click this copy test here. And then here I'll put like application management portal. Okay. And now what we are going to do that instead of doing this backend like querying to this approval record, a query to the approval record, opening the existing record and clicking this UI action from the native view, we will replace these 3 steps with our portal steps. Okay. So what we'll do after impersonate options, line number 12, we are going to go and then check our portal and then we are going to approve that. Now, how we can go and approve that from the portal? So simply we can go to this employee center, like employee center module from self-service. And then from here, we have a call my task. We can simply go to this my task. Under this my task, we will be able to see that under this open item, we will be able to see that our ATM will be there. We have to just approve or reject. So now for that, what we have to do, we have to open the portal. Once you open the portal, you have to click this my task options. And once we click this my task option, we have to click this approve button. So these are the steps we have to do now. So let's do one by one. The first thing is that we are going to add step after 12 number steps. We are going to deactivate these steps. So 13, 14 and 15 steps, we are going to deactivate that. Okay. And after that, what we are going to do that, we are going to portal page, and then from the portal page, we are going to click this my task, right? So let's do that. So we'll click add test steps here. Then insert after step number 12. So we are going to select the step number 12 and then we are going to select that custom UI. Under this custom UI, you can see that open service portal page. So you can open service portal page. We'll select that, click next button. What page we are going to open? We are going to open that under employee center portal, the page name called index. We are going to open that. So we define that and then click submit. So this is our 13 steps. So we finally open the home page. Now what we have to do, we have to click this my task, right? So let's do that. So we'll click that add test steps after 13. So we'll select that after 13 and then go to this custom UI. And then here you can see that we have an option called click custom component. So we'll select that and click next. Once you select that, you will be able to see a completely new things came up called retrieve page component. What is that? Custom component cannot be, or custom UI cannot be done or cannot be do like this way. What we have to do, we have to retrieve the component. What will be happen once you click this retrieve component? It will open a client runner in the next tab. It will follow all these steps before these steps, like till the 12th step it will follow. And then after that, it will find all this component and it will show you that. So let's do that. I'll click this retrieve component. As you can see that a new client runner open and it will follow till the 12 number step. So it will go and then fill up this catalog item and then it will go for, before manager approval 12 number step. So as you can see that it's open the portal, and once it is open the portal, our client runner will
fetch all these component, and you can see that under this my task there is a one is showing my task and one. So we have to click this component called my task component. Okay, so let's go here. It should be completed here. You can see it is fetching this all this component. And you can see the component fetching is success. You need to click the next. Once you click this next, you will be able to see that all these fetch component will be visible here. Okay, so all this fetch component is visible here. So this is all fetch component here. Now, what is the component we are looking for? We are looking for called my task. So we'll search called my task. Okay. Now under this my task, you can see there is a one thing called link called my task, and there is a text called my task. So we need to click this link. So we are going to select the my task one and then click submit. Once it is my task is completed or my task steps is completed, what is the next step? Next step is that if we click this my task, where we are landing to this task, and here you can verify that RITM number is properly or not. Okay, so you can verify that. For verifying that, we have a steps call after line number 13. After line number 14, we can go to here called custom UI again, and here you have a call assert text on the page. What will be happen? It will check that the text is present to this page or not. So you can check that RITM number. But we are not going to do that. We are going to click this approve button. So we'll again click custom component and then click next. And again, you need to do retrieve component. This is a lengthy process because every time you have to fetch the component, you have to, if you have long, already a component is built, so you need to fetch all this component and again try again and again. So let's see that. So as you can see that portal opens, and then as per our step number 13, it should click this my task link. So let's see that it can click or not. So as you can see that I think it's clicked that my task and it is landing or refreshing the page. And once it click that, it should go to this our open tabs, like my task open tab, and we should be able to see that our RITM. So as you can see that we can verify that based on the RITM number, but right now we haven't configured such a way, but you can actually verify that RITM number. So our retrieve component is completed. We can see that it completed that. We can click the next button here. And then what we have to do, we have to click this approve button. So we'll click that approve button. So we'll search call component name called approve. So as you can see that once I search call approve, the type is button. There are multiple text type also there. You can see these are the text type, but we need to click this approve button. So we'll select this approve button. And it shows that from which actually page area it is coming, like header portion or other area. So we can just select that approve button and then click submit. Once I do that, our approval process is done actually. So our approval process previously it was doing from the native UI. Now it is completely shifted to our portal side. We can click the run test and we can just verify that it's working or not. So you can click the run test and this under the client runner, you can verify that. As you can see that it's actually impersonate the request manager, and then what it's open the portal page, it will click the my task page. Once it is click the my task page, you can see that it's have that RITM number and approval. We are going to click this approve button. So it's click the approve and you can see that you have approved this request. So approval is done. And after that, it will follow that rest of the steps. Like it will follow that other steps, whatever is defined under our ATF. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone. In this day, I'm going to talk about more about portal testing through that ATF. Previously, I have shown you that how you can actually do manager approval testing through our custom UI ATF test. In this day, I'll talk about more about portal testing. So let's assume that I'm going to open that employee center. So how we can open that our portal? Simply go to the self-service module and then click this employee center. We will be able to see our open our portal. Now I'm going to show something that how you can set some value. Let's say that I'm going to test this password reset search functionality, right? So we can go here and then set some value. Let's say that I can set that password. Okay. Once we click this password, you can see it's go to the next page. And then once it is go to the next page, we have a option called password reset that we are looking for. We can click that password reset and it can open that particular catalog item and then fill up all this form and then do all these necessary steps. So this search functionality we are going to test for the portal in our ATF. So let's do that. We'll go here, search called employee automated test. And then here we are going to create a new test. So we'll click here test and then I'm going to call new. Now, what are the things we are doing? First thing, we are going to search a left navigation. We are searching called employee center from the self-service module. So you have to define a steps for that also. So we are going to call employee center, which is part of self-service. So we are going to open this module. Now, first step, we are going to add the test steps here. Then we are going to use call navigate module. Click here, click next. What module we are going to navigate? Our module name called employee center. So we are going to search called employee center and then submit that. So this module we are going to search first. As you can see that after adding that, it's saying that navigate to employee center module in the self-service application. So under the self-service application, we are going to select the navigate employee center. And so once we go to here, we had to search something, right? So before we search, we had to set some value into this component and then we have to click this search button actually, right? So let's do that. We'll click the add test step. Then we are going to custom UI and then we had to set component value. We had to select that and then click next. And again, as I said that we have to retrieve that for our custom UI, as I mentioned in previously. So we need to retrieve that component first. So it's open the portal in our client runner and it should be automatically fetch all these component details from the backend. So once it is fetched, you can go to the next and then from where we want to set that, we want to set under this search component here. So we want to set under this search. So we can see that there are multiple actually page area called homepage search, employee center header. Let's see that from where it is actually. So you can go here and then under this homepage search, we are going to put something value. So we'll go and then select that homepage search. Now, what value we want to set? We want to set called password. We are not putting the whole text. We are just putting that password text. So we'll say that password. And then click submit. After doing this, you can see that it is added here. We had to click this after putting here called password. We had to actually click this button called search button, right? So you have to click this search button to go to this next page. So we'll go here, click add test steps again. Now this time we are going to click that click component and then click next. Okay. So what button component we are going to, again, we have to retrieve that. So I'll skip all this retrieve part from you. So that you don't need to repeat again and again from this client runner. And then what we are actually going to click that we are going to click this button. So as you can see that our component retrieval is completed, we can click the next. And then in this next, we can select that our component. There are actually multiple component came up after doing this. So one of the component we are looking for called search actually. So we'll see that there are multiple again search. We are going to select this one under home page. We'll select that type is button, and then text is search. Once the search is completed, let's say that you click this here search button, you actually go to this search page, and here it is open a new page. In this page, what you can check that, so we can actually verify that the password reset, this component or this client things are came up or not, and then we can click that right on the password reset. So for that, what you have to do, you have to click this add test steps again. And this time we can, as I said that previously, assert text on this page. You can use that and then click the next. And using the assert text, what we can do, we can actually verify some text is present on this page or not. There is two options: text on the page, text is not on the page. So we are going to check that text on the page. What we are looking for, we are looking for password reset, this text. So we are going to put call password reset. So this is actually present or not on that page. And after finding this, or after finding under assert text, we can click this password reset, this catalog item, and actually it can lead you to this catalog item page, right? So you can do that. You can click again add test text. You can use this click component again and click next. And again, as I said that if I use the click component, I had to retrieve component. I'll just retrieve that. So as you can see, the retrieve is completed. We can click the next. And in this case, we are going to select this, our password reset, actually this password reset hyperlink. So our retrieve is completed, and we are supposed to find out one component called password reset. As you can see that we are able to find out one called password reset. This is the one, and this is a link we are able to find out. We can click the submit. So this way it can actually open our password reset catalog item. And in this password reset, once it is open to the password reset catalog item, you can set all this field value and then you can submit that. So let me run this complete test. We'll click the run test and then click run. And this time I'll show you that what is happening into that using the ATF. Just if you want to see that, you can do that. Otherwise, this is the complete video for the password reset. As you can see that after clicking that button, it actually landed to a password reset catalog item. And here you can actually fill all this form and then submit that as I have done previously. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about that how you can create the reusable test for your future test suite or test. So if you see that whenever we design for ATF for mostly specifically for the catalog item, we repeated same step again and again. Like if we could do something called function that would help us in the future, right? So using that reusable steps, actually we can create these things. So basically what if you see that in these steps, what we are doing normally whenever we test for a catalog item, these steps we repeated every test. Like first we create a manager, we create a user, we create a approver, we create a fulfiller, we put some assignment group to the fulfiller, and then we finally open the catalog item. So these steps we keep repeating for all our each steps. Instead of that, if we can create some function or some reusable component that we can use again and again, that will be very grateful for us, right? So similar things we can do through our ATF also. It will be work like our normal function. So for that, what we can do that we can go to this automated test here. Here you can see that one of the thing called reusable test. You can go to this reusable test and then create that. Okay, so you can create a reusable test here. Okay, now here you can put some reusable name. So let's say that so I mentioned this name and then simply save that. So this, whenever we are going to test this, whenever we are going to create any catalog item test case, we are going to use or reuse these steps first. Okay, now here we can define that input and you can define the output. Okay, so let's say that we are going to create a input. What are the input we need? Normally for fulfiller, we assign some assignment group. Then we normally, for opening a catalog item, we create it, or we actually open the catalog item. So first thing is that in that case, we are going to create a reference field. So type will be reference, then label will be catalog item. Okay, so this is our reusable name. We'll submit that. So this is first input. We are going to put that, and the reference to SCCat item table. So this is the first our input. Let's create the second input. So we go here and then create another input called groups. So we'll select that call groups. Now, if you recall that groups is a list type of field, so we can select that type equal to list here, and then we can put like label called group here. Click OK, and you can actually make this mandatory or not like that. That option's also there, so you can see that here. Okay, now here under this group, we have to define that which table we are pointing. So we have to point to that sys user group table. So we'll open this variable again. And here we are going to put call sys underscore user underscore group table. So this table we are going to point. So we'll select that and then save that. So right now we have two input variable. One is called catalog item as a reference field. Another is called groups, is a list type of fields. Then here you can define the output if you want. I'm not going to define that output. In this test step, we can define multiple steps. So I'm not going to repeat each and every steps. I'm going to create a normal requester, and then I'm going to create a fulfiller, and then I'm going to open this catalog item. So these steps, I'm going to define that. Okay. So later you can use that for your purpose also. So I'll go and then click add test steps here. And then first we are going to create user and then click create user. So now in this first steps, I don't want to impersonate. So I'll uncheck that. The first step is called ATF fulfiller. And then here, what we can do that, we can put like other attribute called active true. And then under these groups, we can actually go and then pick from that our reusable input, and then we can select from the groups and then submit that. So first user we have created. Now this is the first steps. Second steps is called full our requester. So you can add the steps here again. Call create user. Next. Then for the requester, we are going to impersonate that. So we are going to select that requester as this one. So you can say that so I put other attribute of the user, and then I'm going to select that as impersonate. So this user, I want to impersonate that. In between, you can create that manager, you can create that other steps. As I mentioned that approver user, I'm not doing all these steps. Now I can go and then click add test steps again. And then as a third step, we can say that let's open that catalog item into the portal. So we'll say that open catalog item into the SP. Okay, and then we can select that our SP record here. So we are going to select the catalog item. Okay, now what should be the catalog item? So we can select that catalog item should become from the reusable inputs, and then catalog item from here, it should be came up, then submit that. So these reusable, you can say that reusable things are created, right? Now you can add this reusable test into our actual test. So you can go here, create a new test for any of this catalog item. Let's say that you want to create a test for iPhone or something, any of these catalog items. Okay, so I'll say that demo catalog item. I can do that and then save that. Okay. In this case, I don't want to add all these steps again and again, so that I can reuse this, right? I can call these steps here. To call these steps, what you have to do, you can click this add test steps,
And then here you can search call catalog item reusable. That step name you need to just pass that here. You can just copy that and then search here. Okay, and then click next. Once you open that, you can see that it asking for the groups as a mandatory. So let's say that I want to put the groups name called database. So I'll select the database, and then catalog item, I want to select any of this catalog item. So let's say that in these groups, I'm going to put called database. So as you can see that I have marked that mandatory during that creation of the variables. That's the reason it is mandatory. And in this catalog item, I'm saying that let's assume that call, what do we have? iPhone. Okay. And then submit that. So these will act as a steps. You can see that these whole steps will be added. As you can see that execute test. So it is added here. And then later I can do anything like setting the variables, doing order that catalog item, all these things we can do that. So what will be happen? It will be reduced. It will reduce actually your steps. And in case any failure happens to these steps, you can go and update directly here so that it affect all your test actually. So you can run the test. What will be happen? Creation of that, everything will be happen like creation of the user and then opening the catalog item, assigning the groups, everything will be done through this reusable. So using that reusable test, actually you can, call one test again and again whenever it is needed. So as you can see that it opened that catalog item, it was trying to open that catalog item through this ATF requester, and it's opened that catalog item. Although there are some security reason or the role issues, because of that it doesn't open, but you can see that the reusable test actually works, or reusable steps actually works and impersonate that ATF requester and try to open the iPhone 6. So in our past video, I have talked about that how you can use the reusable test. And today's video, I'm going to talk about that what is the test suite, and then I'll talk about that what is the test template. Two components we are going to discuss in our today's sessions. What is the test suite and what is the test template? So if you go and then type called automated test, this module, you will be able to see that one of the module name called suites. So what is the suites? Suites is nothing but a bundle of test case. Let's say that you can say the incident management, you can say the problem management, or you could say that platform management, anything. So basically, suites is nothing but a bigger library function, or you can say that a package that will have ultimately small our test steps. For example, I'm going to say that demo class or demo ATF. So let's say that I'm going to put here call. So what we'll have in the test suite? So test suite will have multiple tests. So if you recall that we have created multiple test cases uh, for our demonstration purpose of our recent projects. Like I was creating that incident form management, incident live cycle, application management test, all these. So you can create a suite, and inside the suites, you can add multiple, then you can put the test name. So for example, our case, the our test name called demo catalog item, I can put here called demo catalog item. Similarly, I can add multiple ones. So I can put the portal search. So you can see that I can add multiple tests. So once you add multiple tests here, what is the benefit of using the suite? The benefit of test suite is that if you see that there are multiple tests are there, right? So you can actually categorize based on your use case, first of all. And second benefit is that you don't need to go each and every test and run that. You can directly run that test suite directly from here. And once you run the directly test suite, all the tests will be run one by one based on the execution order. You can see that there are some execution order. So based on the execution order, it can run one by one. And then finally, all this result will be attached to this test suite. So if you have multiple child test, you can combine them, add to a test suite, and then you can run the test suite. Once you run the test suite,
it will be run complete, test one by one. So you can see that it will be run 1, 2, 3 based on their execution order. So right now I haven't put anything as the execution order. It will pick randomly, but you can put the execution order like 100, 200, 300, and based on that, it will pick each and every test and run one by one. So that is the benefit of the test suite. Okay. Also in the test suite, there are another benefit is that in the test suite, you can add multiple test suite. Let's say that you created a test suite called platform management. Inside the platform management, you can create a one child test suite called incident management. Another child should call problem management, change management, and incident problem change. Each and every test suite will have more test case like incident lifecycle, incident form validation, incident notification validation, all kind of test you can define here. So ultimately, test suite is a higher level of the test. So it will just categorize that multiple test here, and then it can run together. Instead of doing all these tests one by one, it can run that test suite. So what will be happen in future whenever you are migrating, or let's assume that you are upgrading your instance. Let's assume that you are upgrading your uh, dev environment or that UAT environment, like some newer version like Zurich version or any other version. You can simply run the platform suites, and then it will run all these other child suite like incident problem chain suite, and then it will run all the other tests inside there. So at a time, you can run all these test suite and you can confirm that everything is working fine. And what is the benefit of the child suite? Let's assume that you segregate with the platform suites to that other like incident problem chain. So let's say that your story is you are working on a story called incident management. You can just run the incident management and then that will cover all your incident process. So this way you can create a test suite, parent test suite called platform test, and inside the platform test you can create the incident problem test, and then inside that you can add multiple other tests. So this way you can create the test suite. So I hope this is clear what is the test suite and what is the test. So test suites is nothing but the hierarchy of that. It can contains multiple tests basically. So suites can contain multiple smaller tests, and it can run all these tests together, right? So I hope this is clear. Now next I'll talk about that test template. So if you recall that I have created one reusable test previous day, right? So reusable test like a function you can call, or you can add these steps each wherever it's needed in your test, right? So it's just a replicate. It contains multiple tests. It will just copy and add it here in your test. So I show you, right? Now there is another concept called test template. So what is the test concept of the test template? So let's say that I am going to create that called test template. I'm going to create a test called test template. Okay. So what is the difference between this test template and reusable test? So whenever you added the reusable test, you pass some parameter and it added all these other test automatically. Similarly, test template is nothing but you created a template, and in this template you can define multiple steps. For example, you can see by default there is a one template called default new form test template. If you add that, and here it asking for a table name. Let's assume that I'm putting the table name called incident. Okay, I put the incident table name and click add. What will be happen? All this template, all this test added here will be attached here. So as you can see that it added multiple test steps. Okay, like impersonate, open new form, set value, field value, something like that. So all added here. The problem for this test template is that you need to open each and every steps and you need to define that. For example, you can see that impersonate the user with the user ID null. It means that you need to define the user ID. So what is happening in the reusable test, you already define that who to whom it needs to be impersonate. But in the test template, you need to open each and every steps and you need to confirm that their steps are properly configured or not. Like here, you can see the impersonate user, the username is blank. You need to set the username. So you added the template. On top of the template, you need to modify that. So you added the template, and then on top of that, you need to select that which user you are going to impersonate that. Secondly, here you can see the set value, right? you can see that it is asking that the step is for the setting some value, but what value it needs to be set, that is not defined here. So you need to define that what value it needs to be set here. So you need to open each and every steps, and you need to confirm that every value is actually set or not. So if you recall that when you click the test template, it was asking for a table, right? So it was asking for which table we want, and then we selected the incident. For that, some of the are automatically pre-filled, like open a new form called incident. It is pre-filled, but rest all these steps I need to open and verify, and then confirm that the related value that is expecting for this test steps are there or not. Now you could have then asked then what is the difference between test template and then reusable test. The test template will added multiple tests here. You can modify that. So let's assume that in between some tests are not needed. You can delete that steps, right? You can pass other value, and you can see what all are actually test steps are being used. But reusable test actually will, you cannot modify, you cannot remove one simple steps. You need to use the whole complete test reusable component there. So you cannot remove one. Let's assume that I don't need that field state validation. I can simply go and then delete that. So it's helping us to added multiple tests here using the test template. But what it is happening using that reusable test, it's just adding one thing, and that is calling. So it is already predefined. Everything is predefined. You cannot remove one component from there. So that's the difference. So depending on your use case, you can use that. Let's assume that for form validation, like set value or other things, you need to use the template, because you cannot use the same value for each other form. In that case, you can use the template. But for example, catalog item, here you need to create the user, you need to create the fulfiller, all this, you can use the reusable test. Okay, so that is the difference I have just mentioned. So either you can use the test template, or you can use the reusable test. Depending on your use case, you can attach to your test. So that will actually speed up your test case creation. In this video, I'm going to talk about that how you can debug your ATF test case using the debug test functionality inside the ATF. So this is the application management test. I have copied and then I have made a new test called application management debug. Here I have little bit tweak so that this ATF got failed. And then we can use the debug functionality, and I can show you that how we can debug the test functionality. So if you see that under the test result, I got a failure here. And if I open this failure case here, and then if I scroll down, you can see it got success till this step number 7. And then step number 8, I got a failure, right? So step number 8, I got a failure called failure, validation failure, failed to order item. So at that line number or at the step number 8, when it is ordering the catalog item, it got fails. Okay. So how we can debug that in our debug text functionality? What you can do, you can simply go here to steps, and then here you can see order the catalog item. These steps we got a failure. Okay. Now what we can do, that we can right click here, and then there is a one thing called add and remove breakpoint. So if you add a breakpoint, like if you recall that in a coding, we can use the debug functionality or breakpoint functionality, so that we can debug that. So similarly here also, you can, let's say that here you can click this add and remove breakpoint. Once you add a breakpoint, there will be a red dot will be present in these steps. So what will be happen? When you debug this test, it will run this test, and then it will be hold till this point. So it will be hold here. So before executing of this line, it will be hold, and then you can understand that why it is getting failed, why it is not getting order. So what we can do, we click this dot point here, and then if I click this debug test, not run test. So normally we do the run test, but this time we will add called debug test. Once we click the debug test and click run test, this will be run to it will be open that a client runner, and then it will try to execute all these steps again and again. And then before before the breakpoint, it will be hold and wait for certain time. As you can see that it says that paused at breakpoint for 10 minutes. So it will be paused for the 10 minute so that we can debug that. So if you see that normally what happening in these steps, we are ordering this order now button. So I can manually check here. Okay. So when I'm clicking this ordering, there is a field called what is the business purpose that is missing. And that's the reason these steps was getting failed. So whenever we are setting some value, we have to make sure that what is the business purpose, that variable's value is set. Then only this will be executed. Okay. To do that, what I can do that, I have paused this code here. I can set some value. So let's say that I'm setting that this value. And then if I resume that, what will be happen? It will be execute that steps again. Okay. So we'll click this here. So it will go and then it will be hold for the next, it will resume that test. You can see it's resumed that. And this time it does not fail because we manually set that value. And see, it is going to go further steps. Okay, so this way you can set a breakpoint. You can manually set some, check that what is happening there in this page, and then you can set some value and you can continue execute that our test. Okay, so it is executing. And now you can see I got another error. Okay, so I can go to this result again, and this time I have not get error on the ordering. Instead of that, you can see that I got a different failure reason. The failure reason is that you can see that I got a different failure reason. The failure reason is that it is looking for approval record RITM. The state is requested and then approval for is able tutor. So it is looking for a approval record where the approval for is called RITM, state is requested and approval is able tutor. But what approval it generate for our case, right? For that, we can generate, you can see that ordering catalog item got success, but till that 13 point, we got an error, right? So in the 13th step, we got an error. I can simply open this test and then here I can adjust that. Okay. So whenever we are querying that, there is some problem, right? So we can go here till this case here, it is querying that, right? I can actually do again a add breakpoint and verify again. Okay. So let's debug test again. So I'll click here, debug test. So here I haven't set any value. This is the reason it is getting failure. So we'll set that here. We can check that why this is getting failed. So we can click this debug test again, run test, and then we'll go here. So as you can see, it's pause. Here I need to manually set this value. We'll set that in ATF later, but we'll set manually and then we'll click this start execution. So what will be happen? It will be hold in the next execution point where we added another breakpoint. It will be wait on that. So if I go back here, you can see that it is paused here. So you can see it's not going here. I got an continue button. Okay. I got an continue button. And here I pause that. I pause basically this execution. Now, if I open this RITM and I can see that either you open in incognito browser and you can check that what is happening there. You can go to this incognito browser or any of this browser. And if I open this SCREQ item table, I am looking for a RITM. I am looking for a RITM where the approval should be able tutor, and I'll check that actually what is happening. So as you can see that this RITM right now created, and if I open this RITM, in this case, this RITM generate a approval, but the approval is not the able tutor. Approval is actually request manager, right? So approval is request manager and hence it is getting failure. So as the approval is request manager and system is looking for a able tutor, because of this mismatch, it is getting failed. So this is as simple as that. So what we had to do, we had to fix those case and then we have to continue that. So what I can do that, I can click, if I click the continue button, it will query to that particular record and it will get failure because there is no record about able tutor. We need to fix that. because as you can see that it's generated approval for a manager, right? So if I click continue, you can see it's got a failure. You can see we got a failure because there is no record found on that step number 13. So let's fix these two and then we can see that if it is working perfectly fine or not. So you go here, the first breakpoint we have added here, you can see that ordering catalog item. Before ordering the catalog item, we need to set some value. One of the mandatory variables value is missing. So we'll set that variables value here. I can set anything. Okay. So I just set this one. So this, once we did this one, this should be work fine. And then another, we got an error at here. We are querying to that. So if I open these tabs here, you can see it's querying to the sys approval underscore approval table. And approver is set as a able tutor, but approval is generating called request manager, right? So where the request manager is set, the request manager is called step number 1. So instead of hard coded here, we can just go here, click the first user and then save that. Okay, so we fix both the test scenario. Now if I run that, this should work perfectly fine. Either you do the debug test or you run test, it should work perfectly fine. So I am assuming that this should be work perfectly fine. I'll click run test and click here run test. In this video, I'm going to talk about that how you can test the major incident using this ATF, and I'll talk about that how you can test the dialog box in our ATF. So let's assume that you have created an incident. So this is a normal incident. Here I have set a user equal to able tutor, and then I have set that short description equal to demo ATF. Okay. Now here you can see that if you click here in the right side contextual menu, you will be able to see there is a one button called propose major incident. So you can verify that the button is visible or not, propose major incident. After that, you can click that button and you can set some work notes like demo and then click this propose button. Once you click this propose button, there will be one related list will be visible or related tab will be visible here called major incident. As you can see that there will be a related tab called major incident. And in this major incident, you will be able to see that few fields. One of the fields called major incident state, that will be proposed state. So once you propose that, the state will be in the proposed state. And then again, if you right click, do a promote to major incident here, you need to define that work notes again. And then you can click this promote button. Then this state will be changed to propose to accepted. And you can see the assignment group will be changed to the major incident management. So here, what are the things we are going to test through the ATF? First thing is that we are going to test that how you can create an incident and how you can work with your dialog window, and then how you can work on your major incident stuff. So here in this automated test, I have opened this test section. I'm going to create a new test here. So I'll click the new button and I'm going to create a new test here called major incident test, something like that. So first the test creation is done. What we have to do, we have to open incident form, new form, and then set their call short description and then caller and then submit that. So I'll click this add test steps. Then here I'll open a new form, click next. Table name is called incident. I'll select that incident, submit that. So our first step is opening a new form is done. Now we have to set the value like caller and then short description. I'm not creating a user. I'm not impersonating that. These things you can do that. So I'll click add test steps and then I'm going to call set field value, click next. Now the system is smart enough to show that what all are mandatory fields. So short description, let's say that demo ATF major incident. And then caller, I'm going to select call able tutor and then submit that. The next step is that we need to click this submit button. The submit button is here. We'll get this submit button sysID. We'll copy this sysID and go here and then click add test steps. And then here we'll click this UI action called submit button. So here we'll open this UI action and then I'll put that sysID. So I'll put that sysID equal to that sysID I have received now, and then run that. And remember that we need to select the assert type as it is server side and we want to save that data from server side. We'll click that form submitted to the server and then save that. After that, once your incident gets created, you will be able to see button called proposed major incident and promote major incident. So there is called, right now it is already promoted, so it's not showing. So you will be able to see the proposed major incident and promote major incident 2 button. So you can check that validity here. So we'll click the test steps here. And then here we can check that UI action visibility and click next. Here we can verify that 2 UI action is visible or not, called propose major incident, promote major incident. Now under visibility section, we have to select 2 button called propose major incident, promote major incident. For that, what I'll do, I'll go to this UI action section. So I'll go to this UI action module and put the table name called incident. And I will search call propose and promote. So there you can see 2 button is there called propose major incident, promote major incident. I'll copy the sysID one by one called propose major incident and open there visibility, put the sysID. So here I have selected 2 buttons. So those two UI actions should be visible and click submit. So your UI action visibility is done. Now what is the next step? Next step is that we have to click this button, right? So we'll click the add test steps here. Before we clicking that, if you recall that when we are, I'll just demote this incident. So if you recall that, if I right click here and click this promote incident or the proposed major incident, there are fields called work notes and then business impact. Those fields are showing here. So for that, what I will do before I click this button, I will set this button value. So I'll click the add test steps and then I will set value. So I'll go and then set field value. I'll set that. Let's say that I'm going to set the work notes equal to propose major incident, something like that. I'll set that. Okay. And then submit that. So I first set the work notes and then I will click this button. Okay. So I'll click this add test steps. And then here I will click this UI action, click next. Now I'll first click the proposed major incident, copy sysID, and then I will select this UI action. Okay, so I click this proposed major incident. Recall that when we are clicking this proposed major incident or promote major incident, we are not actually setting something or we are not actually hitting to the server. We are just opening the dialog window. So in that case, here under the assert type, we are not going to select anything. It will be none as it is. And then we'll click the submit button. After that, what we have to do, if you recall that there is a button or there is a dialog box opening, here we need to click this propose button, right? So we need to click this propose button. Now, if I go back here under this UI action and open this propose major incident, this major incident or this UI action actually calling what? This is calling a one called MIF underscore propose one of the UI page that is calling. So you can see this is the UI page it is getting called, right? So we need to call the same UI page. So we'll do one thing. We'll click here, add test steps. Till the point it is as it is, there is no change. Here you can see the click modal button. So we need to click the modal button here because there is a propose button under the modal window. So we need to click the modal window here and then click next. Here we need to define the page name. What should be the page name? Our case, the page name is called meme underscore propose. So this is the page name. We'll select that. Now, once we select the meme underscore propose, the button we need to click. So we had to click this button called propose button, right? What is the button ID? We can right click, inspect, and then go to this under this here inspect element. We can go and then hover over this propose button, or you can go through this UI page. So if you see there are two buttons. One is called cancel, another is called propose, and this is the ID of this button. So we'll copy this ID and go back again here. We can define there. Now, in this time, we are going to actually hit to the server. So we'll go and then set that call modal close and page is reload. Okay, so we'll select that and then I'll submit that. Okay, what will be happen? It will hit to the server side, it will refresh the page and it will show again. Now, once you have done this click button, what is the next step? The next step is that you can go to the major incident section and you can see that the major incident state should be proposed. So major incident state value should be proposed. So you can go and then open then again existing. Now we can click this add test steps again, and then this time we can open the existing record. Click next. And then what value we can verify? We can verify the major incident state is visible or not, and then the value should be proposed, that value. We can check that. So first I am opening the record. So we'll go here, click record, and then this record will submit that. So this way it will open the existing record. And after opening the existing record, we can actually verify that. So you can say that field value validation, click next. And here we can say that major incident state, and this time it should be proposed. Submit that. So that's it. I'm not going to do the same step again repeated for promote. You can try yourself, but this way you can know that how we can test the dialog window. So before I run this test, what I want actually, if you see that here, we are opening a form, we are setting that value, and then we are clicking this UI action called submit. After that, we are again clicking the button. But if you recall that whenever we are setting or whenever we are doing something on the server side, generally we had to open the existing form again here. After step number 3, we need to open the existing form again and do the other step. So I'll do one thing. I'll click the test steps again, and then after step number 3, I will again open the existing form and then click next. And this time I'll open the existing form again and then I will run this test. Okay. So here in the record, I will open this existing record again and then I'll do that rest of the test. Okay. I have submitted that. Let's run these tests and see how it is. I'm assuming that this should be run perfectly fine and it should be passed. Let's see. So it's open a new form. Now it should set the caller, it should set the short description, it should submit that. So as you can see, it set the caller, it set the short description, and now it should click the submit button. So it submit the button. So it will open an existing record again, and then this time it will try to open the dialog window and try to mark as a major incident, propose the major incident. Let's see that. So it's open that pop-up and then it try to click this propose button and the incident got proposed. Now something happens. If I see here, it got an error. If I go to this result, it's saying that the validate modal was closed, failed because the page was not reloaded or redirect within the timeout. So there are timeout set. My instance is running little slow. It might be the reason it's getting failed. So what we can do that, I can go to this again in this test here, and under this test here we are clicking this modal here, modal dialog. So here we'll just update that from 5 to 20 seconds so that it sometime the instance got slow. So we'll put the 20 seconds so that it takes some time and then work properly. Okay. Now if I click the run test here and then click here, it should run properly. So as you can see that it successfully passed that test. Now it is verifying that the major incident field is proposed or not. In this video, I'm going to talk about that how you can test the inbound action through the automated test framework. And I'll talk about that how you can write a custom script in our ATF. So let's start one by one. To start with the inbound testing, you can go to the test and then you can create your new test case called inbound testing. So what happened during the inbound test? The inbound test, what is happening? Somebody sent a mail to the ServiceNow, right? So somebody sent a mail to the ServiceNow. Depending on the subject, depending on that caller or condition, it create either incident, problem, or whatever inbound it is there. So normally by default, whenever a email came to the ServiceNow instance or whenever we received a email into ServiceNow instance, it create an incident. Then once it is created incident, it open the incident and then we can see that the channel is normally the email, right? So that thing we are going to test that. So for that, what we are going to do that we are going to add a test steps called, we'll click the add test steps. And here you can see that there will be a call inbound. If you type call inbound, there are two type of inbound. One is called generate inbound email. Another is the generate reply email. So let's say that you received a email as a new fresh email, right? In that case, we can use this generate inbound email. And if you want to, if you received a email which is reply type of email, then you can use this generate inbound reply email. So our case, we are going to use the generate inbound email and then click next. Now, once you open that, there are few parameter. One first parameter is the form. So let's say that somebody like Rohit ABCD or whatever from like XYZ or Snow Expert at that something. So from wherever you are receiving, that should be the from. Two will be like to whom I am receiving. So normally it's have the service the instance URL, then subject and body. Based on this criteria or condition, inbound action decided that whether it needs to be created a incident or problem or anything. So what I'm going to do that, I'm going to say that called demo. So this is my two email address. Normally it is, it have like call ServiceNow URL. Now from URL, so from URL maybe call this way it is going to be create a, or this is going to be received, we are going to receive a email from that external email. Now once we receive that, it takes some time. Let's say that it takes 5 seconds 10-second time to process that inbound action, and then after that it generate a incident or maybe problem, right? So we had to wait for certain time. Maybe we had to wait for 5 seconds, we had to wait for 10 seconds, anything, right? For that, we can click that add test steps. And then here, if we search call wait, there are no such steps that can wait that, okay? For that, you can use your custom script. So what you can do, right? You can search call script here. And then here you can see that run server-side script. You can run some server-side script if you want. So using the some server-side script, we'll wait for the 10 second or 20 second, and then we will try to open the incident. So we'll select the run server-side script, click next. Now this is, I'm just giving you an example, like you can wait for that some time, but if you want to do something like query to the particular table, create an incident, do that, whatever is scripting you want to do that, you can do anything here in this script section. So you can write any type of script here, ServiceNow script, any type of script here. As you can see the script console open, here you can write your script, like there are some sample example, like you can query to the SC task table with that some parameter, you can do that. And then finally, whatever is needed, you can do that, okay? So here under the script section, we can actually execute the script. For demonstration purpose, I have written some script. So this is the script that can wait for certain time. So this is going to be wait for 5 seconds. We'll increase that. So we can put here and then format that code. What it is doing,
it is doing for loop every time it is waiting a second. So you can see this is using this framework. It can wait for a particular second, 1 second. So it is looping through and then waiting for that. So we'll increase that to 5 to 15 seconds. So we'll wait for 15 seconds. And after that, we will assume that this is going to be our inbound is processed and we are going to open the incident. Okay, so we'll submit that. So it is going to wait for 15 seconds. The next step is that we are going to open the existing record. Okay. So to open the existing record, we'll click the add test steps. Now this time we'll go here. We'll use that open existing incident. And then if I click the next button, so we need to define that which table we are going to open and then which record we want to open. So our case, the table name, generally I'm expecting that this is going to be create a incident record. So I'll put that table name called incident here. From where I can get that, under this inbound action, if you go to this your email sections, so you can see that these all are receipt type of email. This is normally generate a incident. So if you received a email, this is normally generate a incident. And that how we can get the incident number? Under the target, it have the sysID. So using that, we can get that. Okay. So we'll do the same thing. We'll go here, outbound record, and this is the pointing to the emails table. From here, we will find out the target. Where is the target? Target. Okay. So this way we are going to open the incident record. Okay. So here it will go and open the existing incident and then we'll add the steps. Now here we can check that field value validation. We can click that, next that. Now here we can put the condition. Our case, the condition is called channel. Channel should be called email. So normally whenever a incident will be created through that channel, the channel should be email here. Okay, and then submit that. So this way you now if you want to do other verification, you can do that. So first what we did, we use the generate inbound email steps where we generate an email and that will be stored under emails log. Then we run a script for waiting for certain time. Then we open the incident record. Then we validate that. Okay. So let's see that how it is behaving. So we'll go back to the emails log again. So this is the email log. Now if I run the test and let's see how it is behaving. So I'll just run the test here. First, it should generate a emails. Here, if I click there, it should generate a email. As you can see, it's generate a email called create incident from ATF. This is generate that. Recipient is this one. You can see that user is this one. And then it create a incident called 62. Let's see that is it opening the 62 incident or not in our client runner. So as you can see that our client runner opened the 62 here number. The channel is emails. It is set here. And then short description set as create incident from ATF. So this way you can actually validate your inbound email action testing through that ATF. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much.